All right, good morning, everybody. 9:30. You're all looking very alive, so thanks for sitting at the tables. We have a big room today. So, and I have a timer. So we're going to get started, and as people come in, come and sit at a table. Welcome, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brielle Jones, and I work for a company called TriGlobal. And today I've been asked to talk about a fun topic. And that's why you're here, because we're talking about online reviews. And we're also talking about how online reviews can get you more business. That's the fun side of reviews. So we are in a big room today, and I hope the slides are visible. I was expecting us to be a bit closer, so I will make sure to talk about what's on the slides. We're going to do the workshop today in 3 parts. That's why I've got you sitting at tables, because we're going to do a bit of work. It's not like school. You're not going to get graded, but we are going to write some notes. So on your tables, you can find some paper, some pens. Good morning, everybody. I also put my business card there in case you don't have it already and you want to contact me. And I'm not going to be talking about TriGlobal per se today, so if you are interested or you want to know a bit more what we do, I've put 3 different papers on your table to give you some more insights as to why actually I'm standing here. If they have questions today, we have a tight time frame, so we will be finishing at 11. I will keep you engaged this whole time. I'll do my best. We can ask questions maybe at the end of each section. And if you do have a question, just raise your hand and someone will come over with a microphone and you can ask it at your will. Now, everybody coming in, please join us. Take a seat at the table. I won't pick on you, I promise. Okay, so perhaps you do need to know just a tiny bit about what we do as to why I'm standing here talking to you about reviews today. So at TriGlobal, we have been working in the moving industry about 20 years now, and we specialize in online marketing, Google, SEO, SEA, and we work in about 70 countries now worldwide. Why is that important? Well, we generate a lot of moving leads, private moving leads. We specialize in the private sector. But moving leads is not necessarily the reason why I'm standing here today, but it does link. So about 10 years ago, we developed a platform, a customer-facing platform called Cirello. And Cirello's intention was to help our moving leads product and give more information to customers who do receive quotes from multiple movers to understand who is each mover. And it's not just about price, it's about far more than a price. And so we included things like reviews. We include things like what is FIDI? What is it to be a FIDI mover? Best practices for moving, how to find a mover. So Cirello has become, over the last 10 years, a very, I would say, prominent customer-facing platform about moving for the private mover. And we have 12 principal domains where we get hundreds of thousands of customers using these platforms every month. So that's why I've put data on here. What I'm going to talk to you today is about the data that we receive to understand what the online customer is doing, especially in the world of reviews. So I don't actually work for the Cirello team, I work for the TriGlobal team, but I have used all of their knowledge to collect hopefully some very interesting pieces of data for you today, and that you go away thinking, okay, I understand how reviews work. So objectives for today, what are we going to learn? I want you to leave this room having learned something. So I've put 3 things that I would really love that you think about. I want you to understand after this session how online platforms and review platforms work. And I want you to think about how you can incorporate them in your marketing plan. Then we're going to do a bit of a practice on negative reviews. I'm sure that's probably why a lot of you decided to come today. The negative reviews is always an emotional and fun topic to talk about. And then I want you to know how you can get more customers from your review platforms and your review reputations. So the plan today, 3 parts. We have to talk about the online customer journey. For those of you who attended my workshop last year, you will have done a little bit about this. We're going to specifically talk about where reviews matter and the way that customers engage in a website online. Then I want to talk about the power of a review platform and how it can actually help you be found online. And what is an online reputation? Now, every single person in this room has, in my opinion, a very good reputation. Just being FIDI Fame accredited means you have been doing a lot of things right. But what does that mean to the online community? That's what we need to talk about. Then we're going to do a practice. That's why I've got you on tables. So anyone who's sitting there, you're welcome to stay. But when we go into the second part, please come and join us on the tables because we're going to work together. And then the third is how to make money. That's always a nice way to end, right? Okay, online customer journey. I need you to not be a mover right now. Be a customer. Now, we need to talk private customers. And I know a lot of you do corporate. What I then ask of you is apply the formula of what I show you today to a corporate client. It'll have slightly different values, but you need to understand the map of what a customer is doing online so that you can interact with them better online. So we use this formula. It's called the customer journey. And there's 5 stages of a customer journey on the private side. You have awareness. You have findability. You have reputation, conversion, this is where the money is made, and advocacy. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. I'm going to step you through it. So the awareness phase of a customer online is when a person hears that today they have an opportunity to move to Australia. I'm from Australia. So yesterday, they didn't know that they had an opportunity to move to Australia. And they see a moving truck going past them today. And guess what? They think, hey, I might be moving to Australia. What's that moving company? Yesterday, they didn't even notice your truck. That is what we call the awareness phase. It's the susceptible phase where they are susceptible to influence. Now, you guys do this very well. You brand your trucks. You do all different things. This is when push advertising works, pop-ups on TV, things like that. But you don't know who's in their awareness phase at this stage. This is expensive marketing here. We don't do that. The next part is they are aware that they are moving and they've seen different things happening and they're going to start looking. This is what we call the findability stage. Now, there is a slide in here and I'll tell you already, 97% of people search online for a service or a product. So let's just say almost everyone is now searching online. And they're going to go to these search engines. And for most people, Google. For China, Baidu. This is your new shop front. And this search engine is the person giving you your business. So you need to know how they work so that you can get the business. Then, fun fact, customers are actually looking at your company and your reputation before they've even contacted you or even gone on your website. And this is where you might not realize that your branding and your website is not yet important to them. What is important is who you are, what you do, what other people say about you, and what platforms say about you. So you have to be aware about this phase. Next phase, conversion. They get to your website. Bravo. This is where your website matters. This is where your sales team comes into play. But before that, you have customers doing things with your business and you have no control over them. So that is why we have to talk about this today. Then you do the move. That's a very small piece in the customer journey, is the move day. But for you, that is actually one of your bigger parts of your journey, right? And that's how you got to think. This is a customer. This is how they view the world and what they do. And the better we understand this customer, the better you can communicate with them. And then we have the advocacy phase. This is where a customer shares their experience. And why I want to talk about this is reviews or review platforms actually integrate in 3 of these 5 phases. That is huge. So, yes, if you've got a question, I will get a microphone. You can talk very loudly, though, for this first one.
I'll whisper to you then.
Oh, there's one. There's one.
You didn't address at all, especially the online search, the issue of social media and the impact. And I know you're not in social media, you're in the internet and
Yeah.
advertising on the internet. And we use you a lot. I mean, not you personally, but we use TriGlobal a lot. And that, when you talk about online search, there's no mention at all of Facebook. Is that a searchable, is that a place that people search for or not?
Good question. You can add social media into this online search. I would say that it's a small fraction of what people would actively go and search on compared to Google. But I would say that the social media fits quite in this awareness phase. You've got an ad, you push it, they're scrolling. All of a sudden, they're like, hey, moving company. I mean, you've got to remember that social media is a 1.5 second attention span. So I would say that you would catch people more in the awareness phase than you would in the searching phase. Domestic markets often use social media a bit more. International and corporates definitely are going to search on Google. Mover in Australia. That's the major keywords, is moving from, moving to. So keywords is what we're talking about with search engines. And I'll explain a bit more why this is the dominant search as we go. So here we go. So as I said, let's just call it every single customer nearly is searching online except for maybe the great-grandmother or, that's it, really. Everyone else is online. And they are actually, I put media in this, so any type of media they're using to find customers. And we're going to talk search engines today because that is the dominant search that's happening. So what's happening here is they're going onto one of these search engines. And guess what? Google is pushing your website or a website to the customer. Why? Because it's Google's job to make sure that the customer and the supplier match. That is their entire job. And so if they're going to push lousy people with lousy websites and lousy products to a customer, Google is going to lose market share, right? So that's their drive. And then what's going to happen is review platforms are going to come up because review platforms have very relevant content for the customer, right? And Google knows it. So they're not pushing your website organically first. They're going to push a bigger website, one that a customer can actually learn from in like a lot unbiasedly, let's call it. Then, if you know that, then you also know that millions of moving specific customers are hanging out. It's like that's their bar. They're hanging out on the review platform, right? And then they find your company. So a lot of people don't realize that so many customers find their company via a review platform and not via their own website. And when you know that, and when you know that that's the bar that you need to be hanging out at, I say bar because we're always at the bar, but it's important, right? And I'm not saying you don't invest in your website, but I'm saying know about this. Then know about this. 88% of consumers, so we use the word consumers, by the way, that means kind of your customer, consumers, say that reviews play a role in discovering new business. So they're not going onto a review platform just to look up your brand. They're actually going openly to find a brand that connects with them. Ooh. So this, I thought, would be an interesting slide just because we have an information and review platform, FIDI has an information platform, and you have a website. It's a bit small, I apologize. The reason why Google will push a website to a customer is for these three main reasons. Relevancy. The content is interesting and gives that customer something to learn. Traffic. So your website is very single-ended. It's got customers looking to move, that's it. An information platform like a government website has so many reasons why a customer would go onto that website, right? And so Google goes, thank you very much, algorithm, check, lots of traffic, great. Interaction. They get to the website because they think it's interesting and they stay. That's the key to your website. You must have good, easy content so that they stay on your website. And Google are counting the seconds. 1, 2, 3. Oh, they left. That's not a great interaction. We call that a bounce rate. And then I put down here paid promotion. A lot of your companies do Google advertising, so paid promotion does help boost your ranking, but it is not the sole thing that is going to get your search engine to push your website to a customer. You need the top 3. So, an information platform. Cielo is actually an information platform. It's not just about reviews. Government website, news platforms, huge of this topic. Review platforms. A lot of customers are going there. Content's good, clicks are good, traffic's good. I put FIDI here. You know, they have multiple movers on the platform. They have lots of information about fame. It's really relevant to a customer. So Google says, come right in. And then I put your moving company. Now, there's different levels of moving companies. If you have a very old company, you have very probably decent organic traffic. But it will never likely rank as high as the others for the reasons that I mentioned. So my tip to you, consider it in your marketing plan because it's free. Okay, time is money as well, so it does cost a lot to keep these profiles updated. But these platforms know how to get pushed in Google. So use their expertise, piggyback their ranking. So that's the first phase. That's why reviews matter in just when a customer is looking for you. The next one is what they're going to find about you. What are they going to feel when they engage or they know or they hear about someone that talks about you? This is where information blogs on expat sites or review platforms, or this is where this type of stuff matters. And be aware that this is happening without your knowing, or you know about it, but you have very little influence of what customer finds what. So you have to really know what's out there being said about your brand. So online reputation, big topic. What is it? Offline reputation is very high in this room. Online reputation, and I'll tell you that in the third part, in this room, not so great. And we need to talk about it. So online reputation, what is it? I've made a diagram, 3 pillars. It's what you say about yourself. It's your website, right? We are great, we do this, amazing customer service. Cool. It's advertising, and it's bias. And I say that a bit harshly because I just need you to know that people don't trust it because they don't know who you really are. And there's a lot of companies who are rubbish that actually say the same, right? So we have to go beyond that. So let's use FIDI, because FIDI is doing you guys a great favor. They are talking about you as a third independent party going, hey, work with these guys, or these guys, whatever, or these gals. This is really important because it's not your company advertising yourself. Maybe you guessed it, online reviews, review platforms. This is now what the customer is saying about you. So you go like this, and we call that your online reputation. Now, if you can address all 3 pillars, you have a very good chance at building trust with your customer and winning the ultimate battle online, right? Because that's where it's happening. Really important slide to think about. And even if you don't like what customers are saying and you don't want to be involved in review platforms, okay. But just know the power of what they have and that they are fulfilling a consumer need. They are not necessarily fulfilling your need, but you need consumers. See how that works? So we need to play this game. So why do we include reviews when you leave this room into your marketing plan? Well, 9 out of 10 customers will look at reviews before making a purchase. Now we can go a bit bigger than moving now. Who's bought raise your hand if you've ever looked at a review for a product that you've ever bought. See, you are them, right? So just every time you buy a product online, imagine that they're going to be doing the same with your moving company. It's human nature now. Google has created this new behavior that we do, right? So you need to play that game too. 50% of consumers read at least 4 reviews, right? That's a lot. they're taking time, and I'm going to show you a slide later about how this works. They are taking time to meticulously go through your profiles, wherever they are. This is a scary one. I'm getting old, so I'm not sure if I'm a millennial anymore, but millennials, tricky customers, they actually trust reviews as much as, and I would dare to say it will switch more than a personal review. Now, this industry has relied on personal reviews, especially in the corporate business. But when we know that millennials, I'm going to call myself 35 going into the millennial, I am your new customer, right? And if that's happening, you have an issue. Well, you have a challenge. That one scares me a lot. Reviews give you feedback. If you find that a review is happening over and over again with the same topic, communication was poor, my stuff was damaged, everything, the sales team was rude, I don't know, you can start, unemotionally looking at that data and thinking, ooh, it's not just a one-off, this is happening multiple times. What can I improve in my company? So we did a survey, a pretty big survey with our TriGlobal customers, and we asked them, what was the reason why you chose the moving companies on obviously our platform? And we didn't know what to expect. We knew that price is becoming a more prevalent thing in the industry, but we didn't expect that 10%, so it's 1 in 10, customers actually said we chose that mover because of their TriGlobal reputation. Okay. And I expect that if we did this survey this year, that's going to be a far larger portion. So it matters to consumers what other consumers say about you. So this I wanted to set the scene about why reviews matter. And we have to get outside of our box of, it's about us, the moving company. It is about you ultimately, but you have to know that this is how they think. And this is how it will only ever grow more. So really think about your online reputation and work at it. We're going to talk about ways of how you can work at it in the phase 2 of this presentation. So I've got a couple of minutes before we start the next one. So before we move on, and we're going to do a practice, right, of a bad review. Ooh. I'm nervous about how this one's going to go, but we are going to practice with a bad review. Does anyone have any questions to start? Mike.
I'm not Mike, I'm Andrew. It's been well documented in reviews on Amazon and etc. There's a lot of fake reviews going around. Have you got any comments about fake reviews or fake, this kettle was fantastic, somebody buys the kettle, it's not.
Yeah.
It's the same, I guess, with online reviews.
Yeah. I was waiting for the word fake to come up, so thanks for bringing up the elephant in the room. Look, there are some pretty cool slides and data about how review platforms are evolving. The word fake is actually my worst nightmare. Well, TriGlobal's worst nightmare, also yours, right? So the integrity of a platform is diluted because of fake reviews. So platforms, this is what you need to know, right, about how platforms work. They can't mitigate fake reviews completely, but it's in their absolute best interest to do everything they can to reduce the number of fake reviews. So there's a couple of statements that come to mind with the word fake, right? Review platforms under, say, 30 reviews almost aren't trusted anymore by the online customer. And the reason for that is normally there's 2 levels of we'll call it dilution of of proper online reputation. 1-star reviews are usually unreasonable, very mad, very angry people. And 5-star reviews are usually, overly excited, happy people, And so they become less valuable for the next customer. 2, 3, and 4-star reviews actually are where the money's at. That's where the profiles are really evolving the most. So what I mean, to summarize that, is there are a lot of new checks that are coming in to mitigate fake reviews. I'm not going to tell you what they are because I don't want to give any insights as to how digital companies can mitigate those, but some do get through. But what we need to look at is the bigger picture. It's getting hundreds of reviews. Because once you get hundreds, it's very hard for either one bad, unreasonable review or 3 fake 5-star reviews to tip your profiles. It's about mass and it's about overall reputation on multiple sites. So, yeah, that's kind of my comments at this point. And if we get stuck in the discussion about fake reviews, we lose our ability to think about how to use our platforms in a better way to sell our product for the next customer. So we're going to talk a lot about not fake reviews, but how to improve your profiles, even if you did get a fake review, right? Or even if you did get a really mad, angry review. It's not the end of the world, but we have to know the bigger game. So that's what I'm going to talk about, okay? All right, good question. All right, let's move then on to the next part. Now, if we can do this kind of swiftly, I'm going to ask the people sitting in the back chairs just to come and take a seat at the tables because we're going to use some pen and paper. So is that okay that you guys just quickly come and just move on up? I've got really beautiful seats here. All right. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to introduce the next topic. Reviews and responses. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, hands up who's had an ugly review in their life. Okay, great. Hands up who's had a fantastic review. Cool. Hands up who loves a 3-star review. Yes. I hope you... I'll tell you about why. So we've got some paper and some pens on the table. And this part of the session, this is what I want you to think about. This is, if you don't remember a thing I've said, remember this. The way you handle your reviews is more important than the content of the bad review. And people in this room, maybe you're not the people responding to reviews. Maybe it's your marketing team, your sales team, whatever. Take this message back. These slides are yours. You can take them back, share them with your team. But as leaders of your company, you need to make sure that your people are trained. So I wanted to take you through a training exercise today that you could actually do with your team or tell someone to do. Because this is the branding of your company, right? This is really important stuff. So the content doesn't matter. Let it go. What you do right now, that is what matters. Okay? We're going to practice. I'm going to set the scene. 96% of customers look for negative reviews. So what happens if you don't have any? Right? Suspicious. Good word. Okay. 62% of consumers say that they will not buy from a brand that censors, meaning that they've requested the profile to be taken down and then the review company says this review was deleted, or that they claim the review is not real. So yes, fake, right? Or angry or whatever. Sometimes you guys have a bit of a challenge because you work with agents in other areas, but you're the front-facing company, so that person is reviewing you even though someone else, you know, in another country did the mistake, right? Okay, it's part of your job, it's part of the game, it sucks for you. But if you go and say, that didn't happen, that's not our company, ooh, that's not looking good, right? It's not about the content, it's about what you say, right? So think about that. And then almost all shoppers who read online reviews, they read your responses. So every time you see that emotional 1-star or 2-star review and you haven't replied, ask yourself, I'm only halfway through this journey. Customers are actually more interested in what you said than what this unreasonable person said. So think about that. You have to reply. How? We're going to talk about that. More than half of customers expect you to reply within a week. Ow, that one hurts. because we're very busy people, and a week is quite short, and we've got other things to do than give attention to, you know, bad reviews. But if that's what they want, you can choose not to do it, but know that they could escalate and they're going to get really mad, right? Just know how they think. That's all that matters. And decide from there what you want to do with it. So we're going to do an exercise. You need a pen, paper, and you can be the leaders of your company again. You are not consumers, okay? So I'm going to put up a review on the screen. This review is actually real. I shortened it. And it's a review that we've seen happen, I would say, almost hundreds and hundreds of times in the last year on Cirello, right? So it probably resonates with some of you because of shipping crisis and all of that kind of stuff. So actually, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to give you time to read it, and then we're going to go from there, okay? All right. Has everybody read it? I do appreciate that people speak their second language, so, and this is in English, so well done to you. I did a 2-star review, actually, because this is a powerful review. So what I want you to do, I'll leave the review on the page. On your own, in silence, you don't have to be in silence, but try to just give yourself a couple of minutes. I want you to write down your response to this review, okay? On the paper. And I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do it, and then I'll let you know what we're going to do. And for those in the back, you're welcome if you want. Now, I do suggest writing this down because you are going to have to work on it with someone. So for those whose pens aren't moving, over there, I'll see you. Oh. All right, so just one more minute. I can still see a lot of people writing, which is good, so keep doing your thing. It's not an exam. All right, if you haven't finished, that's also fine. You will have some time to finish it. Why I'm getting you to do this exercise is often as, you know, CEOs, managers, we don't we don't get into the operational, juice of what is happening. And we sometimes need a bit of a refresher as to what our teams are doing. And when you start writing, all of a sudden you realize it's a minefield of options that you can talk about, right? And you're like, oh, do I want to say this? No, I don't want to say that. And when you have to write it on paper, we're very slow, right? So we're like, But when you're typing it, I delete 10 times what I write because it's really nuanced in how you respond. So what I want you to do now is share your response. Like, it's going to be a bit noisy, go for it. You can talk now, you're out of test conditions. And I want you to share with your neighbor what you wrote, and they to share it back. And I want you to think about how those reviews compare with each other, okay? So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do this. And if it's in a different language, put it back into English if you can. Get together. Sit next to them if you need. You wrote an essay, I like. What did you guys write? Yeah? Keep going. Hi. I'm not going to pick on you, I promise. All right. If you haven't switched, make sure you switch. Okay, last minute. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Finish your conversations. All right. Firstly, 12 points for everybody. You guys involved each other and spoke. I don't know if you spoke about reviews or you're just having a grand old chat. Doesn't really matter because the proof will be in the pudding at this next point. So you've shared your response with your neighbor. You've probably found out that you have different types of ideas. All ideas are good at this point and will be forever. You've got to just know why you have come up with that idea. So hands up, after sharing it with your neighbor, who is satisfied with the response that they wrote down? Who's satisfied? Don't feel bad. One person. Okay. Two? Nice. Rob? Okay. Can we get a mic over? I promised that I would ask Rob, and I'm surprised you put your hand up, so it was good. We're going to ask Rob. Rob, could you, if you don't mind sharing, your review. Now, this is a non-judgmental space because every review response is good, right? But Rob, what did you write?
Well, I was really telling Laura about what I do with these reviews, because we've got 2,500 on Trustpilot, and most of them are pretty good. But when I get a review, first of all, I check the facts, because there were a lot of allegations in there, so I check the facts, make sure if they're right. If they are right, I say sorry. That's the first thing I do. I say sorry. As I saw it, there were 4 complaints here. First of all, that the shipment was late. Secondly, that nobody communicated. Thirdly, they couldn't explain it, which was, I think we could all explain away probably the issues here. And then we've got another communication failure at the end where nobody responds to the damage allegation. And then, of course, we've got the damage itself. So I think you probably need to split all of those issues out and respond to each of them in turn. But I would always start or end by saying sorry, because I think that's absolutely crucial to this review process.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Maybe you can hand the mic over.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I do usually when we respond is thanking them.
Okay.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about our company. It helps us be better and see what we can improve. I think that's number one. Always value that opinion, because just like you said, I love the 3-star reviews because those are the ones that people usually read.
Yeah.
So first of all, doing that. But I still don't know how specific should my answers be when it's something so public,
Yeah.
I don't want to seem defensive, of course not.
Yep.
And I want to validate the customer. Thank you so much. Your opinion is so important to us. But how specific should my answer be? Because we're not talking about only Sorella, we're talking about Google
All of
and Facebook.
Good question. It's kind of like you've anticipated the next slides. So I'm going to come back to you on that one. Very good question. Thank you both for sharing, because 2 of my slides are done after this, the thank you and the sorry. Well done. And that's 2 factors that we really need to remember. So well done. Anyone else? Do you feel comfortable to share?
Exactly the same thing. They've really already covered it. It was breaking it down, and it's saying, thank you for reviewing and complimenting our staff. So we're starting off on the positive, not the negative. And again, finishing with an apology for the customer and addressing the fact that we can improve our customer service, and they've now outlined some areas where we need to improve.
Yeah.
The question would be the length of the response is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Say bad reviews and angry customers.
Yeah.
You've got 3 paragraphs there of response. What length of response should you be to mitigate their...
It's an interesting question, because I've looked at a lot of, thank you for sharing. I've looked at a lot of reviews in the past month, like thousands. And the angry ones are normally the longest. They're really into it. And the good ones are like 2 lines, great stuff, thanks for a lot, always great. Doesn't really tell me much as a customer. That's why negative reviews are the ones that customers are looking for. So the length is tricky, and I don't necessarily have an answer for it. I've got a couple of examples coming. I think it's more about choosing your strategy instead of getting caught up in the content all the time. Sometimes you can go into the content, but sometimes get rid of the content and just go with, I'm sorry, So we're going to go through 4 examples now and a template that might be able to at least help you come to a decision on how you want to do it. And as I said, marketing, we've all done a bit of marketing. There is no right or wrong way to do stuff. I can say, go do this, and you say, but this one works. What it is about is finding the way that works for your company so that you get more customers in the end. That's going to be your feedback is, am I getting more customers from this or am I losing customers from this? That's kind of the way you can measure if it's effective or not. So a lengthy response may very well be effective. I can show you an example later of a lengthy response that works. So that feedback actually went way better than I expected because you've really captured 3 parts of it. Own it, think, and talk about factual things. Let's not talk about emotion, okay? So basically, I've given you, and this is the slide you give to your marketing team or your sales team, whoever does it, this one. Responding to reviews, 2-step plan. We need to do an analysis. That's what you guys just did. You read it, you like thought about it, you processed, and you thought, what's happening here? The next part you need to do is your response template or your strategy, right? There's two parts, analyze, respond. So I've given you 3 things to think about in each one. And this will allow you to get to the place you want to be with your reviews, and you can all do it differently. There is no right or wrong. But if you do this, you at least will have thought about the right things that you need. 1, think about the review. What is the main issue? Remember that lengthy most of the time, it's just like one line. No one communicated. That is so often the biggest reason why people are annoyed. That was the word I was looking for. Get down to the crux of what is really being said and get rid of all that emotion that they're talking about. What are they really talking about? 2, what is their tone? This is a really important one. So when you're walking down the street and you see a really angry person, you know, and they look like they're going to fight you, you just don't engage, right? But you walk down the street and you're like, oh, this person's reasonable, they're not happy, but engage, right? The tone of where they talk about gives some insight into how they go about the world, right? Yeah. 3, what do they ultimately want? So first they have a problem, then the way they talk about it is important, and then you need to ask, what are they asking from me? Sometimes it's just a complaint because they just need to let it out. In fact, I would almost say that after reading so many thousands of reviews in the last month, preparing for this, I would say that the majority of people just want to be heard. And I would go further in a life lesson to say, that's the same in any relationship you ever have. Most of the arguments you have with your partner or your spouse, they just want to be heard, right? So if you think about human nature wanting to be heard, maybe that changes the way we do it, right? Okay, so we know what is happening on the customer side. We need to think about what we're doing as a marketing team. What is the goal of your reply? Now this goes, Rob had a strategy and a goal. Both of you, you're actually asking more, what is my strategy? What is my reply? What is my goal? Think about a goal. And it's not just to satisfy that customer. That shouldn't be your goal. Well, it could be in a small sense. Your goal is maybe to educate your next customer, maybe to show how professional you are. Maybe your goal is to just stop this online review exploding into a full-out war. Each review actually has a different goal, right? What's your strategy? So you've got a goal, but you have to figure out how you're going to achieve that goal, right? And that comes down to the analysis. What's happening in here and what do I need to say? And what's your tone? Okay? So they've got a tone and you've got a tone. Now, often what I see is to every good review, it's exactly the same tone. Thank you so much. It's really great that you've reviewed us. That's fine, but boring, right? After you've read, as a customer, 10 good reviews and they all say the same response, you start to think this is just a computer kind of response happening. Get personal on the good ones. You know, be yourselves. On the bad ones, sometimes you can be very corporate. Sometimes you can be very emotionally like, I'm sorry, like what you said. You know, there are different ways. So think about this. And now we're going to have a look at some examples. So to remind you, this was the review. Now, half my job is done. There were multiple things in this review. There was some good stuff. That's why it's a 2-star review. friendly and professional. The move day was actually fine, right? It was later that the problem started, and possibly that was a problem with your agent. And then things were damaged, and your service keeps coming back, right? So I've just highlighted, bolded a couple of the issues that are in there. The tone was pretty reasonable, would you say? Like, this person was not out to ruin your company, but they were also really unimpressed. And then what's their goal? I actually think that what they really want is just to have someone, like, just communicate. That's really what they want. So we know about that. Now we're going to use the template to respond. So I've done 4. There's millions that you could do. I just came up with 4 very different ones to get your ideas thinking differently, right? No is right or wrong. Each have consequences. Each have benefits, okay? There's always a trade-off in everything you write online. And you made a very good comment. Word of mouth is like a one-way. You know, when someone talks about your company, they're talking with their neighbor or their friend, and it's one person telling one person. What you need to remember at this point is it's one person telling thousands of people. And your response is equally going to thousands of people. So when you think about it like that, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, okay, this is actually a branding exercise. This is a marketing exercise. This is online branding. Thousands of people are going to read this. How lucky are you? Free. Let's make sure you write the right thing. Okay, response 1. This is what I came up with. Take the conversation offline. Now, in a really bad review situation, this is absolutely my tip to you. Do not engage. Try to take it offline. This is how you'll do it. You are going to provide the contact details of your business and how this person can personally contact, well, I wouldn't put your email address on there, but your customer service team. Yeah, that's what you want. You want to show that I care. You want to show that I'm professional, so you do it like this. Now, this is a long review. You could cut it in half. Thank you for taking the time to review us. Your review helps us and our future customers to learn about the complexities in a move. We appreciate your honesty and fairness. Thank you for the 2-star. Yeah? But I do see, other than positive aspects, that there was some room for improvement. If you are open for a call, we would like to try again and see if there's a better way. These are our details. Oh, if I see that, I'm going to be booking with your company, because you're doing all the stuff that Rob said. You're saying, thanks for you, sorry, this is what happened, we're here. But you can't copy paste that on every review, right? You're going to have to customize. Response 2, educate your next customer. This is a tricky one, but if you do it right, it's a marketing tool, yeah? So share factual and relevant learnings of what you learned from this experience, so that other people who are going to book with you are already aware of what's happening in your market. The shipping delays. You know, that wasn't new for anyone, but it's new to the customer. And you want to be empathetic. So, bit of a long one, you can shorten it how you want. We learned a lot from your move. We wanted to thank you. Based on your feedback, we do want to improve, and we want to ensure that future customers don't have the same experience. So here's a summary of the things that we learned and we wanted to share. Overseas shipments are delayed. This is due. Now, this is a complex one to not blame or defend. It's very nuanced in the way you write this. So this one will take you a while to write. The new expected delivery time is this. We are under pressure with our communications, and our communications are struggling. So we apologize in advance that we might take longer. Great. Thank you so much. 3, stop it from escalating. This one probably wouldn't escalate because it seems reasonable. But you can stop bad reviews from escalating by doing this. Own your mistake, and that is all. Don't say, I'm going to give you compensation. Don't say, come and call me, because you definitely don't want them to call you. You're human and you're vulnerable. That is your strategy, and that is how you're going to do this one. This is very effective. Although difficult to read, we appreciate your feedback. It was really tough, and we weren't coping at the time, so we want to apologize that we did not live up to our standards. Full stop, end of discussion. Next customer. Whew, we need to move on. This is really powerful stuff, because you're playing with human behavior. Response 4, show that you've solved the problem. Now, reviews can happen in multiple stages. Sometimes they do contact you, you get in touch. Ask them to update their review. Don't force them and hold their goods ransom until they do. No, just be open. Say, hey, if you're really open to it, we'd love you to update it. So show that you've solved it. If they don't update it, that's fine. You can then say, hey, thanks for the review. After we had contact, these are the things we did. We really hope that, we helped. Friendly and professional, that's your tone. Following your insightful review and discussing the extent of the damage to your furniture, we filled an insurance claim and have reimbursed the respective costs. We hope that this solution will ease the difficulties that you experienced. So these are 4 templates. There's many more. But I want you to, the takeaway from this is it's what you're doing about it and you're thinking about what you want to achieve. And it's so easy to get caught up emotionally in that content. Forget the content as far as emotion goes. Think about what you're doing for your next customer. So these are some tips. I won't go too much into them, but don't take it personally. I know it is personal and you guys work really hard, but if you take it personally, you are going to lose sight of the bigger game here, the bigger strategy at play. If it's painful, do not be emotional in your responses, unless you're being vulnerable. Vulnerable is different, right? Emotional is tough. It's about the next customer, not this one. Don't go into excessive detail if they don't get caught up in their length. Even though these were long, I tried to just more show you the strategy. And don't just respond to bad reviews. That's so common. I just see like bad review. Okay, we care. Good reviews. If people give you a 4-star review and there was a 1 thumb down and a 4 stars up, thank them and say, hey, it matters that you told us. You're taking the time to let us know how we can improve. And try not to point fingers at the customer, even though often they need a good finger pointing. It's not going to help you because it's not about them. It's about the next one. So answer quickly. Be thankful. Thank you. Answer honestly. Correct the issue and show what you did. Encourage customers to update their reviews and customize each response. I put that one at the end because it's too easy to go copy-paste. Reviews take so much time. That's why they have to be part of your marketing plan and not just like we got a bad review. You need to factor in time to manage this stuff. So I wanted to give you some light. Online customers these days, going into maybe the fake side, but also the unreasonable side, they know when a customer is being unreasonable. I know when this person looks like a crazy person and I don't even read that review. I read the reasonable people's reviews. Focus on those. And handle it properly. Handle it so you're going to get more business. And that's why I get very excited about bad reviews. Not too many, but you need them. They are actually the biggest piece of your marketing. So when you think about it like that, it gets exciting, right? To reply to bad reviews instead of like, Okay, so we're on to our last bit. How do we make money? Question. Yes. Just wait for a mic.
A couple of times we have received like 2 stars, no sentence, and the name of the customer is irrecognizable. So we usually just go on just saying thank you, but we have no records. I have rendered service for, we repeat the name, please contact us at. Would there be any other way to reply to that? Like, it really feels like somebody just wanting to...
Tip your scale. In fact, I probably wouldn't waste too much time on that. That you could do more common. What you did is pretty good. There's so many better reviews to actually invest. This one is telling me nothing. As a consumer, it's irrelevant. So, yeah, just be like, hey, I don't even know if you thank them for that. Hey, we can see that you've reviewed us on a 2-star. We're curious about your experience. Please contact us. Maybe, yeah. No right and wrong, but the fact that you're already thinking about how to reply.
To let the public know that
Yeah.
haven't done anything to discuss.
Yeah. So definitely take it offline and say, hey, we care about your feedback. You've left no content. Could you contact us and help us learn? oh, something like that. Yeah, so I got really excited about that. Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, so now we're going to talk managing, right? We've talked how review platforms can make you be found. We've talked what to do when you get a bad one. Now we're talking about how to get more, right? And how we make money on these. So I'm going to bring back this. You don't need to understand. You just need to think about this journey again, right? Experience. So you've gotten to the end of a customer journey, right? They've found you. They've been pushed by Google. They've looked at your reputation. They've clicked on your website. They've gone to your sales team. They've moved with you. And now, they're going to be your ambassador for your next move. Good or bad review. We've established that that doesn't necessarily matter. How do we get them to put reviews online? So hands up in the room, who manages all online platforms with reviews, if your company or you do it? What company manages all the review platforms out there? Nice. So not a lot, which is actually pretty normal because there's a lot out there. So we're going to talk about that. 2, if you are doing that, you know how much work that is. It's like almost a full-time job for someone. So these are important things to think about when you're incorporating them into your costing and your overhead. Who proactively asks for customers to leave online reviews? Hands up. Okay. So not everyone is proactively asking for more reviews. That's already a good step in the direction to get more, is to ask for them. They do come naturally, but often it's part of our marketing, right? So we actually have to proactively seek reviews online. Now, I know 2 years ago, so many companies I still met were doing handwritten reviews. I don't want to shame anyone on that, but if that is you, stop that now, because it's going nowhere. No review platform can take your review on paper, because there's a validation process involved, which includes email addresses, IP addresses, et cetera, et cetera. So a paper review is useless, sadly. Really good for, maybe your internal learning, but for customers. And this one, who has a marketing plan or knows that their company has a marketing plan that actually includes their online reputation and their presence on a review platform? Hands up. Hands up who actively includes reviews. Yeah, that's what Okay, so well done. I didn't expect many. And that's what I want you to leave with, is knowing what you're going to do. And if you decide not to, that's also fine. But if you don't do it because you didn't know, that's an issue. Do you have a question? Yeah. Question. Hands up, Rob. Behind you.
I think the question really is about directing customers to review sites. Because there are lots, and as you say, lots and lots of review sites out there. So we ask all our customers to review us on Trustpilot, right? Most of them then come through as a verified review. But also, we're sort of always under pressure, if that's the right word, to use Google reviews as well, because that'll help us on SEO as well. So, and then there are removal reviews, which are usually full of people who are really angry. And then there's all sorts of other sites as well. So, it's a question that you can't ask the customer to review too many times. I think twice is almost the maximum you can go to. So you need real views on, directing people, yep, suggesting them in a particular direction. Yeah.
Yeah. Good comment. There are a lot. So I have a slide on it, but I'll tell you now. If you don't do any proactive directing yet, choose one platform to start with. Make sure you get your reputation to a level that is the reputation you actually have, and it is represented online. So you've chosen Trustpilot, and you've probably got a really great profile at this point. Remember, great is a couple of things. Number of reviews, types of reviews, your responses to reviews, right? So that's a good profile. Once you have established that, you can consider to open up to other platforms. And this is what I want you to think about today, is what is the drive of that platform? Now, Google is something that you mentioned. There is an impact that Google will have on your business, Because Google, I don't know if you've ever searched something and before the website comes up as a line and on the right-hand side, you already have like a snapshot of what to expect. Google shows your reviews there already. Google does not have the best, you can quote me personally on this, the best integrity when it comes to fake reviews or, they're quite random on there. But if you're thinking about it as a strategy in a game, and you know that Google is the most searched search engine, it does make sense to invest in your Google profile, at least to an extent that it's reasonable, right? I would do that. You don't have to overinvest, don't get thousands necessarily on Google, but make sure that there's something there that is representing your company. Google also pushes the information of Trustpilot in a subcategory and other review platforms. So then, what is powerful is when you have multiple platforms that actually say the same thing. Because then a customer is like impressed by this and goes, ooh, this is very legitimate. It's everywhere. This person's online reputation is strong everywhere I look. So that's ultimately very powerful. But as managers of your companies, you need to ask yourself, what time does it take me to go and have a strong profile on every platform? So my advice would be pick the ones that are gonna cross paths with your target audience. And being that you're corporate, a lot of your businesses, Google is somewhat important, but I would say working with an actual removal-based platform could be quite useful because, Cirello is only removal-based, and I'm not trying to plug it, but it does show what FIDI is. No other review platform does that. It does show, the difference between a domestic mover and an international mover. There's quite a bit in the difference. So think about the drive of your platform. That's my advice, and decide where you want to be and go step by step. Do not go all out everywhere because you will dilute your reputation. Get one strong and grow. And I'll go a bit on with that. So this is the way we're going to get, how we're going to manage it. Firstly, you need to assign someone to do this in your company. Someone has to feel responsible and actually do it. It can't be like, oh, we've got a bad review, who's responding? You are responsible, manage it. 2, ask your platform for access. Most of you don't know that you have, you can access all your platforms. You are responsible for filling in the information on there, responding to your reviews. Make sure your information is correct. They put your phone number on there, your website. It's free marketing, and so many have no info. They're ranking the highest in Google, remember? Put your information on there. Include review platforms in your marketing plan. We've talked about that a lot. Choose one platform. And I've had a lot of feedback from movers that are using podium.com. It's a review management software that basically could help with this spread, is pooling all of the review platforms via API into one kind of dashboard where you can see, oh, on Trustpilot I got this, Google I got that. That could be an option for a company like yours to consider. It is going to cost you a bit of money, but it's going to save you a ton of time. So that's one option. If anyone knows another one, you can share. But that's the one I know of at the moment. So monetizing. How do we earn money from this? Okay, yes, more customers, but there are actually quite a few ways. So, as I said, the number of reviews matter. So 60% of consumers feel that the number of reviews a business has is critical if they decide to use this service. Now, I have done a lot of statistic research, and we're talking like companies that have over 1,000 reviews, their booking conversion is superior. Once you start talking over 1,000, it's impossible to hide if you're a bad company, if you have thousands of reviews. It is actually impossible. Under 100, yeah, it could go both ways. You get a spurt of bad reviews and maybe you're dipping. But once you talk over 1,000 somewhere, very hard to, manipulate your profile. It is what it is. So you need a lot, and customers trust that. So this is a bit of a data-heavy slide. It's a bit small. I did this because it's Cirello data, and I thought it would be interesting. And I'm going to go through it very quickly, but you need to understand the data. Okay, we work with data, so that's how I know that this makes money. In the Netherlands, we have Cirello.nl, right? And we have France, and we have UK. We have 12 platforms there. So what we measure is the time that a person stays on a page, minutes. Because the longer the minutes, the more they're reading, right? That's the data feedback that we get. So on this entire customer platform about moving that we own, the average time on every single page is 1:29. We're pretty proud of that. It doesn't probably mean much to you, but that's a long time for a customer to hang out at the bar. I picked a mover profile in particular, just to give you an idea. And this one, all movers have a profile in the Netherlands on this page. And the average time that a customer spent on the moving profile pages compared to the general pages was 2 minutes 36. Which says to us one thing, and this is millions of people interacting with our website that give us this data. It says that they are so interested in the mover profiles and their reviews beyond any other content that we are building. Checklists, how to move in COVID, calculate your move, tips and tricks for moving with kids, whatever. That is semi-interesting, but your profiles and your reviews are the most interesting thing on that entire platform. Then, I went and looked at a specific moving profile, just to get some data. One mover actually had above 2,000 customers click specifically on their profile from our website. That mover doesn't pay anything, they did 2,000 visits. But this is where it gets fun. The average time spent on their profile was 7 minutes. What on earth were these customers doing? They were reading reviews, and they were reading responses. That's what they were doing. And we know that because we test on, it's kind of a heat map. You can see where people scroll and how long their mouse stays. They were all reading reviews. So if you didn't believe any of the stuff I told you before, this is our data, and it absolutely confirms what is happening. They have 57 reviews on just Cirello, and they had a couple of hundred on other sources. And Cirello sent them 39 free leads. Okay, we have a piece where you can actually ask for a quote from that specific mover. 39 free leads. Okay, we're a lead generator, but this was free leads, and an average lead cost is, say, 10 euros. So that's 390 euros of leads, just boom. So you can actually make money from these sites just by having reviews. So I put the data in for other countries. This one was interesting. They spent 2 minutes and 8 seconds, but they had 196 reviews. So, very convinced. I don't need to spend too long. This is where I'm going with this one. That was in France. And then I put one for the United Kingdom. So the point I'm trying to make here is, I can say what I like, but data speaks. This is how we make decisions. So last year, Cirello gave movers 4,000 free leads. That's when a customer has filled in the whole thing. What about how many soft leads you would get from a review platform because your website was there? Do you see how much traffic is going to your companies because of your reputation? That's the point I'm trying to make. What we know is that the online user will spend twice as long on a review page than any other page on your website. You can say whatever you want about how great you are. They want to go to your reviews. Trust me, they matter. The more views, the more leads. Reviews equals views. Views is someone going on your page and looking at you. Views equals leads. Leads equals money. The data is there. Reviews give you business. They must mean something. So, it's getting a bit interesting now, because I knew I was going to come to FIDI, and I thought, oh, you know what would be interesting? Let's have a look how FIDI movers, this is a bit of a risky slide. How do FIDI movers compare, and I put online, right? Because between you and I think you're the best of the best, right? It's very hard to sit in this room. But do online customers know that? Private ones? How do you compare? Okay, let's see what happens. I can only use mostly Cirello data, so I have to go with where my data's at. 52% of people have reviews on Cirello, of FIDI members, right? So half. On average, FIDI movers have a score of 3.2 stars out of 5. On average. Obviously, it's a bell curve, so some are 4.5 stars plus, others are under. That's not to say that it's because you're a bad company. No, it's to say that you've probably not invested in your profiles, you don't know, et cetera, but now you know. 41 members have 4 stars or more. Actually, one FIDI member has 94 reviews and a 4.9. It's pretty impressive. And 28 members have less than 3 stars. Now, those members probably need to just invest a bit and they'll go up. This is what I found interesting. Is on Cirello, the non-FIDI members actually rank slightly higher. Okay, potato, 3.2, 3.5. But that's not the point. The point is that you're FIDI, right? You guys have the best customer service and the best agents and the best quality assurance and all the things. Yet consumers have no idea. So this is the third piece of information that you need to remember when you leave here. They have no idea how good you are because, well, you answer that for yourself. Why? You need to invest where the people are hanging out. Where are the people drinking? They're drinking at the bar, not at the restaurant. So be at the bar and make sure that you have the right reputation online. Okay, so then you might say, oh, Brielle, but that's Cirello. You know, not everyone's interested in Cirello, so be it. So then I went and got all the platforms that Google show. Trustpilot, Google, Facebook. Because once you start comparing platforms and you start averaging the average, you start to see that, you know, if you have a high score on one and a low score on the other, well, your average speaks. So I did that. And I did it to see if the Cirello data was biased or, you know, not full enough, right? Same. Same. So it tells me that online, you are not the best. And I think that that is an opportunity for so many companies to get more business because they invest in their reputation more and more reviews, better reputations, more bookings. This is the data. It's not my opinion. This is what's happening. So go and put it in your marketing plan. I was really surprised by this, to be honest. I was really hoping that FIDI movers would just shine, and they don't. And this is from hundreds of thousands of different points of data. And if you are the ones with 4 stars plus and you're good, fine. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're the ones that aren't, now you know. You've got a job to do. So I wanted to just briefly touch on types of reviews because we've got number of reviews, we've got where they're happening, now we've got the types. We kind of covered this a little bit in the questions. This actually was some statistics from this year. 2 years ago, 3.2 was the average star rating that customers required in order to consider working with a business. It's now 3.4, so it's taken a shift. What does that mean for you? Well, it means that if your company's average on whatever platform is under 3.4, you are most likely losing out to someone above 3.4. And this is more about human behavior. This is like, I'll consider it, but I would prefer something better. If there's nothing better, I'll go with it. That's what we're kind of talking about here. So it's not 5 stars, but you can't be below 3. It's going to kill you. As I said, 1 and 5, most common. Readers prefer 2 to 4 stars. And we already have someone in the room that agrees with me. 3-star reviews. Hardest to achieve, best reviews you can get. Pitch for those. So how do you get them? This is one that only came to me last week as I was reading a lot of different information. Educate the customer early and mention reviews multiple times throughout their journey. Because then at that moment when you ask them for it, they already feel accountable. They're like, oh, they told us about that. Oh, yeah. I thought it was very Australian. Oh, yeah. So you know the customer journey online? They also have a journey with you. Mention it. Hey, before we undertake your move, we really care about, you know, your experience. So we will ask you at the end to review us. Would that be okay with you? Oh, buy-in, right? Once you ask a question and someone says yes, they've committed. It's part of sales, right? Get this in some shape or form into your sales process, because this will have an effect when you do send that email. They're like, got it. Which brings up the next thing. If you don't know what a QR code is, this is a QR code. It's this little thing here. You can get creative with these. Now these are scannable things on everybody's smartphone, right? All you do is scan it, and then boom, the page that you need them to see pops up. Now, someone was asking about different platforms. You could, it's just an idea, you could print stickers that link to different platforms that you want to generate. And you could put 30% on that box, 30% on that box, and so you've split your review income, right? Now, what makes this so attractive is if you put this on your documentation, if you put it on, I put trucks, you know, it's a risky one, but if you put it on your boxes, it makes it really easy. When your movers are like, hey, do you mind reviewing us? It's on the box. That box, they're going to look for 2 weeks, right? So you've basically got review us on the box with the QR code. It's an idea. Add review invites into your marketing process final email. A lot of movers already do this. If you don't do it, do it. Automated process with the link to the review platform. Please review us. And then send that, like, I would say the day of the move or the day after, because you've got to remember how the customers are thinking. They're now overwhelmed. There's boxes everywhere. You know, they're not going to review you once they've started unpacking. Then send them a reminder email 2 or 3 weeks later once their house is, you know, unpacked. We do the same. We do one at the day of the move, and we do one 2 weeks after. And we get actually the same amount of reviews both times. So we've got to think about all the points where a customer may have the time to review, and we have to make it easy. So Cirello and other platforms make it easy for you. They actually have built invite tools. All you need to do is put a person's name and an email, and the link, the email, everything's there, and you press send. Obviously, it's in a review platform's best interest to get you to use it. So they actually give you free tools. Widgets. This is a widget. There. That's like a digital sticker. Google has one. Trustpilot has one. You can actually put these on your website. It does 2 things. It shows customers that you are transparent and you trust your online reputation, and you're fine to show it. The second thing it does is give customers easy access that if they click on that, they can see your platform and they can also review you. That's another idea. The bottom line is, the quicker and the easier you make it, the more reviews you generate it. Customers are lazy, and they're busy, and they're stressed, and they're emotional during a move. You need to do the work for them. And I think most of you do that. So we have made it to the end, and I want to stop with just a summary of what I want you to take away, if nothing else. We know how they work, we've practiced, and we know how to earn money. These are your takeaways. Piggyback the power of the information or review platform to increase your online visibility and your reputation and your findability. Claim your review profiles. Reach out to the platforms, ask them for your access, give that access to somebody, and update your info. Use third-party validation. Use the FIDI website. Use government website. Be on blogs. Be on different spaces where people talk about you in a good way. You are going to build trust. The way you handle it is more important than the content of your review. Really, don't forget that. And lastly, monetize. More reviews, more views, more leads, more money. So I put a QR code for you. There's also my business card on the table. If you need to contact me, you want to share, I'm going to be out there. They have a new session after here, so I can take any questions you like. And I wanted to thank you for going on this journey with me. And I really hope that you've learned something from this session. So, yes, Magali. I've got 7 seconds.
7 seconds. Want to do that? Yeah, otherwise the conference organizers won't be very happy. That's true. Thank you very much, Brielle. And just to your last point about creating trust. I'm sorry, I'm doing my marketing pitch here. FIDI is doing a lot in marketing for you guys. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of you guys don't actually use it to its full potential. We have loads of stuff on FIDI.net that you can just take and use on your own websites. There is a full dedicated Find a FIDI affiliate section on FIDI.org. That is your company profile. There are lots of ways to make it look good. You can add videos, you can add a photo, you can add a biography. I didn't run the statistics on that one, but I would say if I would say 70% of FIDI members are not using it, well then I would not be very far from the truth. So if you have questions, you can find me. You can find me on our website. We've got a team there. Tell us how we can help you, because we are there as well to help you make us look good as well. So to Brielle's point, I think the FIDI brand and your FAME certification is one of the strongest marketing tools that you have to stand out from the crowd. Use it. And if you don't know how to use it, come and see us. We are there to help you as well. So thank you very much, Brielle. I learned a lot. It was very, very interesting. You will probably see more of Brielle somewhere on our website very soon as well, I think. She doesn't know it yet, but I'll be there. So thank you very much. Anybody who's got questions, find Brielle. She'll be around for the next few days as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.